We have life force energy within us. We are life givers. We carry life within us. It tells us about our core needs. Not our desires, not the things we want, all the nice to have stuff. No. What we need before we get to the wants. What do we need to be stable in our feminine energy? To be grounded in it. To be safe and secure. To feel like, okay, we are in a container that is holding us. That can hold all of us. Not just a tiny part of us, but all of us. The moon tells us how we nurture ourselves, how we nurture others. The moon tells us what we need to feel safe, how we experience safety and security, what we need. Not every woman needs exactly the same thing. The moon also tells us how we've been conditioned in childhood, and also the conditioning that we brought in with us. But yeah, specifically the conditioning in childhood, the conditioning through our caregivers, and how that may have shaped us, and how that may have helped express or hinder express our feminine energy. Hello my loves, welcome back. So today we're gonna start a little series, and this series is all about my readings, my energetic readings, my astrology readings. So the first video in the series is going to be the Feminine Blueprint reading. And this reading was specifically designed for the feminine woman, right? Or the woman that wants to express her feminine, that wants to live her femininity on a core level. And this reading will help you dive deeper into it. It will help you understand what your unique feminine expression is. And it will also tell you how to utilize it. And it will also explain to you how your unique feminine energy is shaping your life in all parts. Your work, your relationships, your ideas of life, your future vision. It's like a red thread. It goes through everything. It just is entailed in everything. And this reading, of course, focuses on the planetary influences that govern femininity, which govern your emotional expression, the way you express yourself, your core needs, your creative self-expression, your self-love, your nurturing qualities, your sensuality, all of it. And it will offer you insights in how you embody this feminine energy, or how you have, or where you have challenges to embody that energy. Because feminine energy is not something you can think yourself into. Feminine energy is an embodiment. It's the way you hold yourself. It's something you exude. It's the energy you exude, and that people pick up on without you saying a word, without you doing anything. It's an embodied energy. And then of course the nurturing that you give is energetic, but it also, there's doing involved, right? You know, especially when you have children, the nurturing, there is physicality involved. There's touch involved. There is an action part involved. But before we get to all of that, we have to understand that it is an embodiment, an understanding, a visceral understanding first. And that also comes with a nervous system alignment, right? We gotta have an aligned nervous system. We can't constantly be in flight and fight, because if we are constantly in fight and flight mode, then the embodiment of your feminine energy is very shaky. Because you will believe that you will have to get into your masculine energy constantly. And you will have to use your masculine energy going through life. I'm not saying that is not true. Of course it is. Of course, you will have to utilize your masculine energy here and there. And you have to understand where it serves you and where it hinders you. But yeah, this reading was specifically designed for the woman that wants to dive deeper and connect deeper with her femininity, her feminine expression, her feminine energy. And in this reading, I will help you to do that. And I will also explain to you why you might not be there yet, what possibly hinders you getting closer, and how you can chip away on those obstacles, how you can remove the obstacles, how you can realign yourself. So let's dive in. Now, the first planetary position, point, planet, whatever you want to call it, we're going to look at is the moon. Of course, the moon, naturally the emotional digestive system. The moon in our chart tells us how we emotionally digest life in general, how we emotionally respond, how we take life in, and how we then react to it. It also tells us, and that is very important, it tells us about our core needs. Not our desires, not the things we want, you know, all the nice to have stuff. No. What we need before we get to the wants. What do we need to be stable in our feminine energy? To be grounded in it? To be safe and secure? To feel like, okay, we are in a container that is holding us, that can hold all of us. Not just a tiny part of us, but all of us. And the moon tells us everything we need to know about it. The moon tells us how we nurture ourselves, how we nurture others. The moon tells us what we need to feel safe, how we experience safety and security, what we need. Not every woman needs exactly the same thing. I mean, to a degree, of course, we all need to feel safe, but we don't all need to feel the same thing or have the same thing in place to feel safe. We are all women. If you are a woman, you know, I'm talking to you women right now. And we all have this feminine within us, but we express it slightly different. The moon also represents your intuition and your maternal instincts. And I'm not just talking about how you raise your children, but how your mothering energy comes out with other children, the people that need you, where you might have to be careful that you don't use that mothering energy on your partner too much, right? Your partner doesn't need another mother. He already has one. And if your partner needs a mother, a second one, then you might have to look into that, if that actually serves you. The moon sign also tells us a lot about our inner world, what's going on and how we structure that inner world. Someone with an Aries moon will structure their inner world very, very differently to someone with a Capricorn moon. It's a very different way of taking in the world and responding to it. With a Capricorn moon, there is much more walling. There are walls around it, that there's more structure, there's more channeling through the structures. Whereas with an Aries moon, that fire will just burn through everything. And it's very quick and it's very fast and we are going. And sometimes we are just running over the things we shouldn't run over. So there is a learning here as well. So the moon is a learning curve, right? We also get to understand our unconscious mind. The moon also tells us how we've been conditioned in childhood and also the conditioning that we brought in with us. But yeah, specifically the conditioning in childhood, the conditioning through our caregivers and how that may have shaped us and how that may have helped express or hinder express our feminine energy. The second one we're going to look at is Venus. Venus is our sensuality, the beauty of life, the things we want, the things we desire, the things we revel in, what we find beautiful. It also partly tells us about the way we look. Like, for example, if you have a Venus in Pisces, there might be a bit more childlike features. Romance is key for you. There is no life without romance. You romanticize your life. And then, of course, you also romanticize your relationships where you have to, again, be a little careful. I'm not saying you shouldn't. You shouldn't romanticize your relationships. It's beautiful. But you have to also be careful that you're not taking advantage of, right? When you do that. Venus will show up in our face, in our body structures. And not only Venus, also of course the ascendant plays a big role in how we look. It tells us a lot about how we look, but Venus will give us that feminine edge. Venus will show our feminine outwardly as well, not just inwardly, how we feel about ourselves inwardly, but also outwardly, how we physically express that in the way we dress, for example, as well. It's part of it. It's not the only thing, but Venus will show us that. Venus also tells us a lot about how you attract what you want, how you go after your desires. And I'm not talking about going after in a Martian sense, like you go and get what you want, but it's like the knowing, right? The inner knowing of like how this is going to unfold. That is Venus. Venus also tells us a lot about how you love. That Venusian expression of love is shown in both directions, right? It is how you go out there and show your love to your partner, to the people around you, and then what you want, not what you need, but what you want from your partner. The moon is what you need from your partner in love. But again, in order to get your needs, you have to give yourself your needs first, right? You have to make sure you're prepared to receive those things that you want from your partner. Often we don't have the container, and this is also something we're going to talk about in this reading, where we have to look at the inner expansion of our container to be able to hold what we want in life. Then thirdly, we're also going to have a quick little look at the asteroids. We're going to look at Pallas Athena, Ceres. We're going to look at Vesta and of course Juno. Just real quick, Ceres is the nurturing asteroid. It tells us a lot about the way we nurture in a very, very physical sense, not just emotionally, but how we physically nurture. Then Pallas Athena is how we stand up for ourselves, how we channel our wisdom, how we channel our intuitive understanding. Not just having that intuitive understanding, but how do we channel it? What do we do with it? How do we express it? Pallas Athena is the energy of the warrior goddess. How do we show our strength? There are different ways to show your strength. Some people show it more loudly than others. Pallas Athena, or the energy of Pallas Athena, also tells us a lot about our strategic mind. How strategic are we? Some people are more strategic than others. How does that show through? How does that help us move through life? And then Vesta is our pure energy. When I hear Vesta, or when I think of Vesta, I always think of white light, or like the color white, the purity on it, the pure essence, it's like there is a serving in it, like we want to serve, but we want to serve not because we are not feeling good enough and we need to prove ourselves, but we are feeling full and we now want to give from that full cup, pure energy. Not because we want something out of it, not because we think we have to do it because X, Y, Z, but we want to do it because it is a deep-rooted desire. It comes from this well. It's that devotion energy that we have, that is part of our core essence. And then last but not least, we are going to look at Juno, and Juno is the wife energy, right? It's like, what kind of wife, married or not? No, you can also be a wife without a marriage certificate. How are you, quote unquote, again, serving your husband? What are your expectations? What do you want from a long-term marriage, a lifelong marriage? Do you want that? Juno also reflects our ideals in relationships, the idea of lifelong commitment. What does it mean to us? What does that mean for us? What are we going to do with it? How are we going to express it? Are we hiding it? Are we not sure where we, like Juno tells us a lot about it, like the aspects to Juno, what energy Juno sits in. Not if we are wife material, we are all wife material if we want to look at it from that perspective, but how we express it and where we might be in our own way a little bit. Then also we're going to look at the moon phase. What moon phase were you born under? Which moon phase governs you? That will tell us a lot about your, not just your drive, as in how you function on a monthly basis, right? Like we are all going through 4 different cycles every month, 4 different stages. But the moon energy that we were born under tells us a lot about how we move through life. Like, for example, if you are more of a waning kind of person, if you are born on a waning moon, or during a waning moon, then you're more internally focused, and you get tired quicker. It doesn't mean that you don't have energy and you don't get things done. There are some incredible individuals out there born under a waning moon that are on top of the world. But it's just like the way you flow through life and what you need in order to thrive. Right? Like a waxing moon it's a bit more active energy. You need a bit more action there. Also, were you born on a full moon? Were you born on a new moon? That will also tell us a lot about how you express yourself in life. It will show up in your feminine energy and what you need to thrive in your feminine energy. Then we're going to look at the 4th house. The 4th house is our family, our ancestry line, where we come from. It will also tell us a lot about our conditioning in terms of our upbringing, how we've been conditioned through our upbringing. And besides that, it will tell us what we actually need, how we actually are going to thrive in this world. We're going to look at the shadow side and we're going to look at the bright side. And for example, if you have Sagittarius in the 4th house, but you come from a family that never really wanted to travel, but maybe but maybe your ancestry line were travelers. Maybe they came from a different country in your country and you were then born in that country. And then, your family didn't move. In your childhood, you were staying put, but that never served you. You didn't understand it and you didn't know, as a kid, you probably didn't know that you were a Sagittarius 4th house. You didn't understand why you always had this desire to go far away, to move far away from home. But then as an adult, you need to allow yourself that energy. You need to allow yourself to be that traveler, to maybe live in a foreign country, have a foreign family, meaning with a partner from a foreign country in a foreign country. You got to allow yourself that to thrive. Because if you tell yourself, no, I should stay in my country, this is just, my mother is here, my father is here, I need to be with them, you will not thrive. Then we're going to look at Lilith, right? Lilith, the dark feminine. Lilith, the wild feminine. Lilith, the part of us that we sometimes disown because we think we need to be the good girl. Or we go right into our masculine energy. Because Lilith and masculine energy is very different. Even though Lilith has a bit of that darkness and this I want it and I do the thing I want to get the life I, desire, it's not masculine energy. It's still feminine energy, but it is that darker energy. And Lilith uses those feminine traits in a different way. And sometimes, if we are not careful, we fall too much to the other side. Maybe we gossip, we manipulate, to get what we want. So we have to be careful and understand how to really utilize this Lilith energy to thrive in life and not to be sneaky. Because there's no reason to use that energy in a sneaky way. You can use it in a very open way where you show up for yourself, stand up for yourself, have very strong boundaries, because that is Lilith energy. Lilith knows her boundaries. I like Lilith with Venus together because they can learn from each other. They can also help each other a lot, right? Whereas Venus is our light feminine energy, Lilith is our dark feminine energy. Then three more things. We're going to look at Mars, even though yes, Mars is our masculine energy, but we need to understand our Mars to be able to fully express our Venus. because Mars is helping Venus. If Mars helps Venus to get where she wants to go. So we need to understand that energy, how to utilize it and how to play with it in our feminine or with our feminine. Then we're looking at the water signs, all the water signs in your chart, where they sit, what they do, how they express, and then also all the earth signs in your chart, where they sit, how they express, what they mean. And I will also look at Pluto, because Pluto is the soul's intention and how you then express that intention in your feminine self, right? With your feminine energy, and how you thrive, and also how you get what you want in life, right? That's also what the feminine is all about. The feminine has desires, it has the lust for life, and the Pluto energy and how Pluto attaches to different planets in our chart, the aspects that Pluto makes, where Pluto sits, that it will tell us a lot about the intention of the soul. For example, my generation has Pluto in Libra. We are all about relationships. And you might say, well, isn't every generation about relationships to a certain degree? Yes, that is true. But that generation I was born in, we are here to look at relationships a different way. We changed the way relationships are done. When Pluto moved into Libra, that was the time when divorces started to triple, quadruple. That was also the time when women started to have more rights. The whole feminist movement started during that time as well. So that shifted and changed relationship drastically. And to a degree, we are still learning to adapt, because for millennia, we lived a certain way, and women had a certain status and a certain place. And now we are all confused. Where are we now? Who are we as women? What's our place? Well, you decide what your place is. We got to find our way back to that knowing. We have life force energy within us. We are life givers. We carry life within us. You can see this beautifully in little girls. Sometimes I just want to cry when I see little girls, at the playground. There is a different energy about them. I mean, little boys are cute too. Of course, little kids are cute, but there is something very, very special in a 4-year-old, 5-year-old little girl. You can really see that life force energy within her. She hasn't been really tainted yet. She hasn't been tainted by life. She hasn't been tainted by certain experience. She hasn't been fully conditioned. She still has that raw, feminine life force energy show up in the most beautiful way. And it is still within you, and you can still tap into it. And I'm here to help you with that. I'm here to show you how you can do that. So if you want any more information, you can message me, you can leave a comment below. If you want a personal reading, you can book it. And anything else, I'm here for you. Ask away. I wish you a beautiful day. Bye.